What is up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Vet Rise podcast. I'm your host, Juan Perez, the #1 veteran coach. I'm here to inspire you, change your life, help you see things from a different point of view, help you understand that we have to break free from the way that we've been doing things. They have not been working. Today's the very first episode. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I kept putting it off. I kept saying, I will get to it, but here we are. These are going to be short little episodes. They are meant to help you change your perspective, see things from a different point of view, and realize that you are empowered to live a beautiful life. You can have success after service in society. And my goal is to make success in society accessible to every single veteran. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here, which is the biggest freaking thing that we have to do, right? So, very first episode today, I'm going to be covering the veteran ego. How is the veteran ego actually hurting you? And what we need to do to free ourselves from the things that have been holding us back. And here we are going to look at it from a different point of view. The perspective that we had when we were in the service was that it was necessary to be a certain way. You had to have that high standard, not just for yourself, but for everybody around you. You had to have that high standard, understanding that if you are going to accomplish something, it could possibly be life or death because you were preparing for war, you were preparing for combat, you were preparing to do your duty. But as we leave the service, we have to understand it no longer serves us. The veteran ego, the mindset that I can do more than anybody else, I am capable, I am self-sufficient, needs to translate differently and needs to translate and change. Because if you get stuck in that cycle, in that loop cycle of thinking that you are more capable than everybody else around you, it'll be very hard to seek help. It'll be very hard to work in the team environment. It'll be very hard to understand that now that you are in society, you have to find a different way to be. And how do we do that? How do we translate our skills? How do we take the positives that the military gave us? Well, we look at everything from a different point of view. Our perspective has to change. You are no longer a warfighter. I hate to tell you that because we adopt that mentality. I got news for you. You're not in anymore. It doesn't serve you. You don't need to have that mentality. You need to seek peace. You need to find and create the future that you want for yourself. You need to let go of the ego that is holding you back. You need to let go of all of the anger that you have inside you. Now, you might be listening to this and you might be telling yourself, I don't have any anger. I don't have any resentments. You likely do, because I did. Most of us do. We just don't acknowledge it because we don't realize where we are at in life. Now, think back. Now, whether you've been out for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, think back to when you got out and the blow to the gut that you took when you had that first job and you had a 20-something-year-old telling you what to do, when you led troops in combat, and it was a blow to your ego. Whether you know it or not, it hurts. Because this individual that has very little life experience somehow is telling you what to do. It doesn't make sense. And unless we leverage our service and realize that we can surpass a lot of the individuals in society if we are willing to let go of the ego and understand that we're boots all over again. We're starting fresh. And if we understand that we are starting fresh, if we understand that we are starting right here at the level where other people have been up here because they've been here longer than us, we can actually start making some changes. We can start changing the way that we see ourselves so other people see us differently. Let go of the judgmental ways that maybe you have with you. Be honest about who you are. Understand that you're going to struggle out here. And it will be harder if you don't acknowledge that. It will be harder for you if you don't understand that you have to make some changes. Now, whether those changes are physical or mental, they have to happen. You have to stop wearing all of that military gear around. I get it. You're proud. I was the same way. But it doesn't mean you have to wear it every single day and every single place that you go to. People appreciate your service. I appreciate your service, but it's like the high school quarterback wearing his Letterman jacket everywhere he goes. We have to understand that now we are in society, and the only way to succeed in society after service is by not only fitting in, but by actually thriving in society. So as we start to look at ourselves and we start to look at some of the negative stuff that we brought with us from the military, and there's a lot of positives from the military, but we also have some baggage. And unless we identify what that baggage is, unless we start thinking about what is it that I'm actively doing that is holding me back, well, we can't really change it unless we really identify it first. So as you identify what those things are that are holding you back, and it might be the ego, it might be the judgmental attitude you have, it might be the fact that you don't want to seek any mental help or any help with anything because you feel like you should be self-sufficient. Because in the military, you have to figure stuff out on your own. You can ask for help, absolutely, but you know that staff sergeant expects you to figure it out on your own as a corporal, as a sergeant, as a team leader. And you likely will, but you're not in anymore. Your culture is completely different. You lost your best friends, your mentors, the people you were mentoring and in charge of. And all of that has gone to the wayside because now you have to recreate that and find it in a different way. And if you don't take the time to find it, if you don't take the time to acknowledge the fact that now your culture is different because now you don't have those mentors and those mentees and that community and your best friend, you're going to feel lost. You're going to feel out of place. But if you acknowledge the fact that now that you are in this new world, in the new society, and you need to move a little bit differently, you can let go of that stuff. You can find new mentors, new peer groups, and you can inspire future veterans and other people to start changing their lives. And by the way, they don't all have to be veterans. If you find the veteran that can lead you, great, do so. If you can make sure that you keep working out and working on your physical health and your mental health by doing the things that used to keep you sane, such as going to the gym, eating the right foods, limiting the drinking, because guess what? You don't have someone there with you on the weekends to tell you, hey, that's enough. You're getting older. Your body needs different things. You can't just do a PFT by waking up in the morning as you get older, especially if you've been out for a while, and especially if you have stopped taking care of yourself. You have to acknowledge the things that you have a shortcoming in, because once you do, then you can start making some changes. And that is powerful. Because if you acknowledge the fact that because of all the things that you've done, you are exactly where you are at, that also means that if you want to be in a different place 10 years from now, you just have to start making different decisions. Starting now, starting today. That gym membership that you paid for, that you haven't gone to for the past 4 or 5 months, start going to the gym. That meal prep plan that you said you were going to start doing instead of eating pizza every single weekend, start doing the meal plan. That college application that you downloaded months ago that you kept avoiding filling out because you're worried and you're afraid, even though you don't want to admit you're afraid, fill it out. That job application that you feel you were overqualified for and they didn't give you the job, so you were angry about it and you blamed them instead of yourself and taking personal ownership over it. Maybe it's time to look at it a little bit differently. Did you fill out the resume the right way? Did you translate your skills? Did you leverage your service? Did you explain that you are a creative problem solver, that you work well in a team environment, that you find ways to solve problems on a short time span, that you can work under pressure, that you understand dynamic problems and you can create dynamic solutions in order to get the mission accomplished? Or did you just list your combat action ribbon? Did you just talk about your deployment to Afghanistan? Did you just make them feel a little uncomfortable because you used dark humor in your interview? Pay attention. These things that I'm talking about are things that I did. It's not just you. It's not just you. And if we can all change, we can start to change the culture. And that is the overall goal. We are not here to try and reach the people that don't want to be reached, because you know what? Unfortunately, they will be changed and they will be moved, but unfortunately, they may have to hit rock bottom first. They don't want that hand up because they're not willing to extend their hand. You can't save everyone. You're not responsible for everyone. You don't have to over-volunteer. You don't have to raise your hand for every working party. You have to start setting boundaries. You used to get a lot of purpose from feeling useful. You used to get a lot of purpose from feeling like people could rely on you. You're still reliable, but that doesn't mean that you have to overcommit and say yes to everybody. Start learning to say no. Start realizing that you can accomplish a lot more if you start focusing your energy and your drive and your passion on the things that you actually want to do in life. Everybody talks about trying to find their passion. You can create it, because if something that you enjoy doing a little bit, if you want to turn it into a passion and turn it into your career, you can do that. You just have to get better at it. And the same way that you used all that energy and all of your piss and vinegar inside of the military, you can do that out here too. You're your own team leader. You're your own PFC that leads yourself. You're your own freaking company first sergeant that is accountable for you. You are your own company and commanding officer that is in charge of leading yourself. Nobody else is. So you have to let go of the ego. You have to let it die. You have to realize that you are no longer Sergeant Perez. You are no longer just a Marine or Army veteran. You are no longer a war fighter. You are you. You are a father. You are a leader in your community, a leader for yourself, a husband, a wife, a son, a brother, a college student, an employee. And whatever you are doing, whatever you are actively working on, give it everything you have. Because I promise you, the results that come from it can be freaking amazing if you actually put all of the energy into it the same way you did when you were in the military. I did all this. I made all these mistakes. I was angry. I was bitter. I caused my first divorce. I gained 50 pounds. I was drinking every night. I was smoking a pack of cigarettes every day. I used to take the streets home instead of the highway because I knew that there was 2 McDonald's on the way home, and one of them actually had ice cream. And I did this to myself because I lacked purpose, because I felt like I should be better than everybody else, because I felt like, how the hell did I go from being a 23-year-old Scout Sniper team leader, chief scout of my platoon, in charge of training, combat veteran, to selling sheets at a mall? Yep, that's right. That was my first job out of the military. And it made no sense to me. And it doesn't have to make sense. You just have to understand that if you don't limit your mindset, if you let go of the ego and you drop it and you realize that you can learn a lot from everybody around you, you can learn from everyone, and you can start to change the way that you operate and change the way that you see yourself. Respect yourself. Wake up with energy. Stop drinking every night. Keep working out. Keep learning new things. Take on a new skill. You are unstoppable. That is it for today, folks. Thank you for joining me for the very first Vet Rise podcast episode. It's been a long time coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. Keep rising, keep being amazing, keep reaching out and doing everything you can, because you have no idea the lives that you inspire and the people that you change. We do a great job of tracking our losses and our failures, but we don't celebrate our wins enough. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your wins. Have a good night, everybody.